Yeah, welcome to Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, the Great Talk Radio. And 7 to 8, 97.3 ESPN FM, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message weekend of January 9th already. Wasn't it just the opening of bow season back in October, even earlier in September? Time waits for no sportsman or sportswoman. Speaking of that, the Division of Fish and Wildlife now has information of the upcoming turkey season, the spring gobbler season online. Go to njfishandwildlife.com. Okay, the turkey hunting booklet and map is there in their entireties, and also the quota information as per turkey hunting area. Now, they're going to be accepting permits from January 25th until February 22nd, and leftover permits are going to be going on sale on Monday, March 28th at 10 a.m. Let me tell you, I'm seeing turkeys all over the place. Speaking of birds, yes, pheasant season's still going on. Quail season's still going on. We had a little bit of an Arctic blast there. Now, some more cold weather's coming this week. However, several wildlife management areas this past week, yes, we did flush some ringnecks. Still some birds out there. If you're into the upland scene, winter bow season's going on. And the special coyote and fox seasons are on, where you can hunt at night. Go to Fish and Wildlife Digest, or njfishandwildlife.com. Get the skinny on the canids. Hopefully we're going to have a show next week. It's not going to be quite the Coyote College program that we had last year, but it's going to be good. Chuck Burke will be on because Bangers has that coyote contest going on. Now, listen, man, that tog bite going on out there is still pretty ferocious. Water temperature now is dipping below 50. When you get into that 42, 43 degree range, the blackfish kind of get a little, their appetite pretty much wanes. But right now the water is still prime temperature. And we have, like I said, we have a cold snap coming up this week. How long this bite will last. But remember, the limit is now 4. Not 6. The limit has dropped to 4, still at the 15-inch minimum. As I said earlier, time waits for no sportsman or sportswoman. Fluke season. Okay, spring will be here before you know it. Will it be May? We hope it's still going to be in May. We hope it's still going to be a 128-day season. But Thursday night's meeting, their New Jersey Marine Fisheries Council, they're up there. It's the Stafford Forge Municipal Building. One of the things, topics for Addendum 27 was establishing. There's a hearing now, just a hearing, one opinion. The people want opinions here. Establishing a 17-inch 4-fish limit for flounder in Delaware Bay. Joining us on the line right now, a very special guest, is Brandon Muffley. He is the administrator of the New Jersey Marine Fisheries Administration. Yes, that's marine fisheries and shellfish. Brandon does it all. How he has any hair left, we have no idea. But he keeps doing a great job with that great cruise up there. Brandon, how are you this morning?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Tom. Yeah, my hair is thinning by the minute. So,
Brandon, that's a mouthful of that title there, little brother. Woo! Well, Brandon, let's get right to it. How was Thursday night? How was the input? How was the attendance? People interested? People hot to trot? What's the dealio?
Yeah, no, it was very good. Yeah, we held a public hearing. This was an ASMSC run public hearing that we held after our Marine Fisheries Council, and we had a full room. We had about 55 guys and ladies in attendance last night. So it was great to see people come out and really ask a lot of good questions and provide a lot of input to New Jersey and the commissioners that sit at the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission, and also get all of those comments on the record for all of the states to hear down at the ASMFC, so it was good.
So, Brandon, now what's the process with this 4 at 17 for Delaware Bay, establishing a separate region? How's this going to work?
So right now, what they were taking public comment on last night was for 2016, the ASMSC has already approved that we're going to have regional management again for 2016. So that's already kind of a done deal.
Right.
The options are either we keep the regions that we had in 2015 and 2014, where New Jersey is with New York and Connecticut, and we all have the same regulations, the same size, bag limit, and season days, or there's an option where New Jersey would be its own region, but on all of the coastal waters, we'll still have the same regulations as Connecticut, New York, but in Delaware Bay, New Jersey would be able to craft its own regulations to try to get closer to Delaware's regulation size. So those are the two options. Either we stay the way we are with the regions and we have this 2-inch difference in Delaware Bay, or we're allowed to craft our own regulations for Delaware Bay.
Well, Brandon, in my opinion, dropping it to 17 inches, even though it's one fish less, will be a boon to the private angler, the charter boat skippers, and the party boat guys down there.
Yeah, it's not everything that we want, but I think it's a really good, first step to try to address the discrepancies that were created because of the regional management approach. We never had a 2-inch size limit difference in Delaware Bay between New Jersey and Delaware. In the entire time we've been managing summer flounder until regional management went into play. So we finally have an option that's, I think, really being considered seriously by the ASMFC. I think there is a fair amount of support to do something and fix Delaware Bay. And, and the option and the example that I think we've worked out would be, 4 fish at 17 inches. So it does get us an inch closer. It does provide some relief down there in Delaware Bay, and that would be for all modes, as you said, the private angler or a shore mode fisherman fishing in, somewhere in Delaware Bay, or anybody on a party and charter boat would be under 17 inches.
Tell you, Brandon, that jetty down there at Smokies Marina, right there in Reed's Beach, I've taken many a flounder there. But, Brandon, where I bang my head on the wall a little bit is some of the people saying, well, who cares about Delaware Bay? What are they doing for us over here on this side? And you look at it and you say, you have to. Jersey's a very small place. You can be in both places, within an hour or two.
Right.
Why not give the Delaware Bay anglers some help here, especially the tackle shops, man, everything. It's a ripple effect.
Yep.
And that was bad news with the 2-inch difference.
Yeah, no, those guys need help. All of our fishermen need help. There's no question about it. But that 2-inch size limit difference has created such a problem down there for that struggling fishing industry already down there. So we needed to do something down there. And it doesn't hurt our other fishermen. Our regulations were not going to change in 2016. I guess thankfully we were under our quota in 2015, which allowed, because we took a cut in the quota for 2016. But since we were so far under in 2015, there are no cuts needed for summer flounder. So the coast is going to stay the exact same. They're still going to stay at 18 inches, 5 fish in 128 days. So
beautiful.
Our other fishermen aren't being penalized by trying to help out Delaware Bay.
That's the bottom line. Well, Brandon, thanks much for joining us today on Rack and Fin Radio. Before I let you go, how's that wonderful family?
We are doing very well. Keeping me busy.
Wow, when do you sleep, Muffley? That's the big question. Okay, Brandon, I'll see you at one of the shows this winter. I'll see you then. Take care.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tom.
See you. Yeah, comments are being taken pro or con on this. Go to asmfc.org, but on Kurt's Moody, whatever the hell it is. You'll find it on there and make a comment, pro or con. It can only be pro. Again, we're not being penalized. Those who fish the coast, Atlantic coast, Delaware Bay. They need some help down there. Coming up, Scott Bach. He's the executive director, Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, member of the National Rifle Association Board of Directors, also attorney at law. Topic is, as you guessed, Obama's gun grab. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Yeah, back inside. Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P., WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, the Great Talk Radio, and from 7 to 8, 97.3 ESPN FM, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message. Also streaming live on the web, WPG1450.com and 97.3 ESPN.com. Okay, let's get right to it. The news the past 4, 5, 6 days, it's been weeks now going on what Obama was going to do insofar as, using the executive order route to instill, force, however we want to call it, more gun control measures on the law-abiding citizens of the great United States of America. Well, he did it, and I'm hearing things from both sides. One, it's the end of the world, the beginning of the end of the world for the NRA, and in your face and whatever. And other areas are saying, well, it's really not that too bad, not that much really. Besides, the Republicans can stop funding, et cetera, et cetera. You have to understand, this is not only the foot in the door. This is the knee, the leg, the shin, the thigh. Everything is in there. And joining us on the line right now, very special guest to just lay it out. What is at stake here and what has happened is Mr. Scott Bach. He's the executive director of the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. He's a member of the NRA as a National Rifle Association Board of Directors. Also, attorney at law. Scott knows the gun situations up, down, sideways, inside, and out. So let's get his opinion on what transpired, what happened, and especially for New Jersey residents, firearms owners, how does this impact us? Scott, how are you?
I'm good. It's great to be back, Tom. And let me just say, for those who think it's the end of NRA, well, I think time will tell, and they may be in for a little bit of a surprise. Look, we live in a constitutional republic, okay? And there are 3 branches of government. There's the executive, there's the judiciary, and there's the legislature.
Time out, Bach. Did you tell Obama that?
No, I don't think he wants to know it.
Yeah.
Okay, and in a constitutional republic, what we're supposed to do, each branch of government is supposed to respect the other. And part of the reason why these executive actions are going to fail is because when an executive oversteps the bounds of their branch of government and invades the other territory, that is ripe to be overturned. In contrast, for example, to Governor Christie's recent executive actions on guns in New Jersey, which is well within the boundary. You know, it's kind of like each branch is in a box, and you can't exceed the authority. And if you do, whatever you do is subject to being overturned. Now, let me just say we're still analyzing in detail these federal executive actions. There's hundreds of pages.
Right.
And so the first thing is we know, for example, on the so-called gun show loophole, which really is a ban on private sales, which is a separate issue for New Jersey than the rest of the country. But on that, you know, the president has clearly overstepped. Congress 3 times has rejected that. If Congress had never spoken, he might have had, you know, a leg to stand on, but Congress has basically considered it and rejected it 3 times.
Right.
Now he's trying to, you know, enforce it through his branch. He's not a dictator. He can't just write the law. I mean, and the way it works is Congress writes the laws, the courts interpret the laws, and the executive branch is supposed to faithfully execute the laws. So,
time out. Anyone tell Obama that?
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to. That sounds like a little pull toy.
He is a constitutional law professor, so presumably he knows that already.
You know, Scott, just to interrupt you for a second here, but I mean, he has a posse of pretty accomplished, you know, lawyers and analyzers, whatever you want to call them, that I'm sure went over these with many a fine-tooth comb, and he seemed brazenly confident. Besides the fake tears, that just got me. I mean, that reminded me of David Dinkins back in the late '80s when he had to do some severe budget cutting in here. Just getting off track here, but we have to make some cuts, some painful cuts, like manufactured tears, Scott. That just lost me right there. Sorry, that's a little non sequitur, but I had to throw that in there, Bob.
Look, you know, there's going to be a battle over it. You know, I'm going to go out on a limb, being sarcastic, and predict, you know, that anything that exceeds the bounds of the executive branch is going to be overturned. People can debate that. I mean, some people think, you know, the courts have been corrupted and you know, the rule of law is dead or dying. And I mean, look, but let me turn to New Jersey, for example, on this gun show, you know, private sale issue. It has zero impact in New Jersey for a couple of reasons. Number one, we don't have gun shows in New Jersey.
Exactly.
Okay. Number 2, in New Jersey, actually, for a private sale of a long gun or a handgun, you actually already need a background check in New Jersey. Most people don't know that. I mean, there are private sales in New Jersey. If, for example, you're private selling a handgun, you know, the buyer and the seller have to comply with state law, which means you need a permit in order to purchase, and the permit has to be filed where law enforcement normally files it. And you know, and I know you can't get a permit without a background check.
Exactly, Scott.
Similar for long guns, okay? And that is a private sale of long guns in New Jersey requires the buyer and the seller to follow state law, which means you got to have a firearms ID card. You have to, you know, exchange and retain copies of the certificate of eligibility, a non-state filed form, but it's supposed to be retained by the buyer and seller. And you and I know that you can't get a firearms ID card without a background check.
Exactly.
So not an issue in New Jersey. But, I mean, look, here is the point. You know, what the president's trying to do is something, if you look down the road of what he's trying to bring the nation along the lines of what we have in New Jersey. And, you know, if you want to know the end game here, it never ends until there's no gun ownership left. Because you would think in the state of New Jersey, where we pretty much have every kind of anti-gun law you could imagine, that they would finally be satisfied with that. But no, our legislature and our leaders in their infinite wisdom, you know, as recently as 2013, tried to pass 85 new anti-gun measures in the wake of Newtown, all of which, by the way, are targeted at the wrong folks, okay? And the fundamental flaw in this whole thing is you don't affect gun crime by regulating the law-abiding. And that's all this does. Criminals and crazy people don't follow laws. They don't get background checks. They don't submit to government regulations. The only people who do are the people who follow the law. And ironically, they are put at disadvantage as a result of actions like these, Tom.
Exactly. Joining us on the line this morning, January 9th, is Scott Bach. He's the executive director of the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. He's a member of the National Rifle Association Board of Directors, also attorney at law. Topic is Obama's, for lack of a better term, gun grab, and the impact it will have, as Scott explained, not so much on New Jersey, but the end game of the Obama administration and the Democrat Party for what seems to be, I guess, since the Kennedys back in the late 60s. So, Scott, as this impacts the nation, where do you see it going? I mean, things will be overturned, maybe not. If they're not overturned, I mean, has the NRA, the Association of Rifle and Pistol Clubs, you guys have any kind of strategy going to combat this?
Of course, okay. And I mean, look, in New Jersey, we have our own strategies. We have defeated most gun control under impossible odds over the last 15 years through, unique strategies. Nationally, I can't reveal, what's on NRA's plate, but first of all, this whole thing is going to strengthen NRA massively.
Right.
I mean, the membership phones lit up at NRA, as news of this thing broke. I can tell you at ANJRPC, we own a range in North Jersey, and once a month we have a new member orientation, and just last week at our new member orientation, it was double the size of the previous month. So this is actually, ironically, going to have a boomerang effect the other way, and is going to strengthen gun groups who are going to challenge and who are going to overturn these things. And look, I mean, I have a unique way of viewing when you hear their rhetoric, when you hear them talk about gun violence. Mm-hmm. We have to end the epidemic of gun violence in America. And by the way, all guns are violent by their nature. I mean, it's an explosion contained in a small device. That's a problem that can't be solved. Gun crime can be solved, but gun violence is this unsolvable, amorphous thing. But in my mind, anytime I hear them talking about ending gun violence, I substitute the word ownership for violence. So when they say we have to end gun violence, what they really mean, my opinion, is we have to end gun ownership. We have to, reduce gun violence. We need to reduce gun ownership. And bluntly, having been a gun rights activist for the better part of 16 years, this is not about public safety. I can say that because if you want to impact public safety, there's only one gun law that is needed, and that is you commit a violent crime with a firearm, we lock you up and throw away the key. Period. End of story. The only thing criminals understand is punishment. Okay? Everything else is targeted at us, law-abiding folks, peaceable citizens. And it's, they always have spin, they have argument, they have emotional rhetoric, but it all comes down to regulating good guys. And good guys are not the source of the problem.
Exactly. Scott, could you hang on? We're up against a hard break. Joining us on the line this morning is Scott Bach. He is the Executive Director, Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, a member of the Board of Directors for the National Rifle Association, and an attorney at law. Topic is the Obama gun grab. Scott, we're up against a hard break. Can you hang in for another segment, please?
Absolutely.
Okay, Tom P., be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Grab that cup. Grab that Red Bull, man. Time for more Rock with the Bach. Be right back. Yeah, thanks for hanging in. You're back inside Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P., WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, and from 7 to 8, 97.3 ESPN FM, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message. Joining us on the line this morning is Scott Bach, Executive Director, Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, a member of the National Rifle Association Board of Directors, attorney at law. And again, the topic is the Obama gun grab, what he has pushed through with executive order, though, as Attorney Bach explained, it may or may not hold up. Okay, Scott, here's my thing. They don't address, and by they, every Democrat, every anti-gun person, 99.9% are, that I speak to, will not address, don't even want to know about it. No effing way do we want to know about it, talk about it, put it on the table, forget about it. The violence in the inner cities, such as Chicago and New York, the cities with the most stringent gun control laws. Okay, what about that? Again, they've been run by Democrats for in excess of 40, 50 years. Again, no addressing that matter. Don't even want to talk about it. So I don't know, Scott. I find that very incredibly hypocritical. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, it is hypocritical, but it's not surprising. It's not surprising because it reveals in vivid detail that all the gun control in the world doesn't impact gun crime. These places, are typically, they have the most restrictive gun laws like Chicago, yep. But they have the severest crime. What does that tell you? I mean, it tells you that there's no impact on this, and they know that, and they don't want to highlight that because their agenda is not about going after gun crime. It's going after gun ownership. That's where this leads. And, this is a high-stakes game of poker. I mean, we're coming into a presidential election year. We have a Supreme Court that validated gun rights by a vote of 5-4. You basically have the Second Amendment of the United States dangling by a thread. The next president of the United States will probably appoint up to 3 Supreme Court justices.
Whoa.
So, there are people, and I'm told that Hillary Clinton recently said that the fact that she thinks that the Heller decision, basically upholding gun rights, got it wrong.
Right.
So,
right. Yep.
What you have is folks who basically are going to try to make Heller and the McDonald cases. Those are basically the seminal cases that resolve the outer contours of the Second Amendment. They want to relegate that to a footnote in history of a time when the court got it wrong. And, we can't take that for granted. I mean, what you see now, you see that President Obama is doing something he's wanted to do his whole term in office, but he hasn't because it's reckless, frankly. But now he's in his last year. It's about his legacy. He's going
right.
for broke. Mm-hmm. And he's setting the stage. And, listen, this is, for those folks who think, well, everything he said sounds perfectly reasonable. I have to say where it is heading is not perfectly reasonable. And where it is heading is the end of private gun ownership. That is their goal. I don't care what the rhetoric is. Unless it targets wrongdoers, it's about you and me. And we have to. Now is the time when anyone in the outdoor community and everyone needs to step up. Anybody that was on the fence, I always wanted to join a gun rights group, or I've been meaning to join NRA or ANJRPC. Now is the time when we need your help the most to combat this, because this is war, folks. That's what this is, and they are not going to stop. They're more brazen now than they've ever been, and that's only going to increase unless we stop them, and we will.
Well, Scott, 2 things on the Supremes. Speaking about them, you have Sotomayor and Kagan. Although Kagan supposedly had been shooting with Scalia and whatever, trap shooting, whatever it was, they're going to come down Sotomayor especially anti-gun. John Roberts, you can't trust anymore. And it's scary. 3 listeners, as Mr. Bach says, up to 3 Supreme Court justices appointed in the next administration, and it's serious stuff. But Scott, here back on the Jersey home front. We had some groups calling for the recall of Sweeney, whatever, and I said, guys, it's not going to happen. Here's why. What Sweeney has done, he's a master at this guy. This is my observation, my opinion. I've been around this game a long time. And it's a game for keeps, listeners. You think I'm BS, I'm not being over dramatic. It's a game for keeps. What Sweeney has done in being pro-sportswomen, backing hunting, fishing, trapping initiatives, things like that for the outdoorsmen, so to speak, and being anti-handgun, magazine, whatever you want to call it as well. He's so successfully divided. I spoke to guys, I'm a bird hunter. I don't deer. I don't care about a handgun. The handguns are. I never. I shot one before. No, I don't need a handgun. But so you see what I mean? The divide and conquer. Now he is, without, in my opinion, he is going to be the Democrat nominee for governor next year. So I don't know. He's done a masterful job at that. Again, how do you win out? How do you weed through this as a voter? Is what's more important? Your right to own. Again, they go handguns first. And then, the assault rifles, for lack of what's an assault rifle? Okay. And then eventually.
Automatic magazine fed.
Right. Then eventually shotguns. So when you try to explain to this, and people, I know, Scott, it gets frustrating to me because men and women that I know who hunt, don't have handguns, don't care about handguns. Nothing resonates with them.
Well,
how do you cure that?
Well, I don't know that you can cure it. I think shows like this and spreading the message is important. There's unfortunately a certain segment of the population, the outdoor, sporting population, that just takes that point of view. And, we do our best to basically put the message out, hey, we're all a family and we need to act like one because we're under attack. And, today it may be my handgun, but tomorrow I guarantee you it's going to be your shotgun. All you need to do is look at Australia, where they banned guns now, and England. And so now they're turning to knives because they've done everything they can do with guns. Yep. They use the same rhetoric but put knives at the end of it. We have to end the scourge of knife violence. I am not making that up.
I know, Scott. You're right, yeah.
It will never end until we are a totally helpless and disarmed population. I know that sounds like crazy conspiracy talk. When I first got into this movement, I thought, well, they just don't understand. If somebody just explained to the legislators and lawmakers, then they'll understand. After doing this a long time, I've concluded they know exactly what they're doing. Their goal, their end game is disarmament, stripping you of your right to defend yourself, and maybe putting you in a little box where you can occasionally have access to your gun to go afield, for half a day, and then, put it back in some government-mandated storage locker. I mean, there's a socialist fantasy at the end of this, and we all need to wake up and shake up and band together. And, a certain percentage won't. It's unfortunate. The hunting community, last time around consciously let itself be divided, because, there are folks in the hunting community who are cutting deals for hunters and anglers, with people like Sweeney, and, consciously letting themselves be used for that. And, there's no way to address that other than to shine the light of day on it and to say, hey, that's penny wise and pound foolish, because there's going to come a day when it's all going to turn on you.
Joining us on the line this morning, January 9th on WPG 1450 AM and 97.3 ESPN FM is Scott Bach, Executive Director, Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs. He's a member of the NRA Board of Directors, also an attorney at law. Well, Scott, let me, when you mentioned, Australia, I've seen this happen in the UK. I have good friends over there. Shout out to Steve Radford and Malcolm Bevan. Whoa, crazy boys. But we're over there and we're fishing, and Steve says, let's go. Now, I have to understand over there, Scott, hunting is, the hounds with the dogs chasing the fox, and everything else is shooting. Steve says, come on, Tom, let's go do some duck shooting, some bird shooting. And I said, okay. And we had to go to the local police station. You had to show, I think, 3 or 4 forms of ID. And Scott, I can't make this up. Then he had to pick which gun he wanted. I couldn't, as an alien, I couldn't use one. Pick up a gun that he needed to use for the day, and he had to have it back at a prescribed time that afternoon. I mean, whoa. And I says, man, God bless America.
It's absurd. It confuses the difference between a wrongdoer and a tool. Okay, and any law that targets a tool and says, well, if we just eliminate or regulate this tool, we'll all be safer, is wrong, because someone intent on doing wrong is going to do evil with or without that tool. If anybody thinks, does anybody think if box cutters could take down the World Trade Center on 9/11, does anybody think that banning box cutters is going to stop the next terror attack? It's absurd. A guy with a car in a crowd can be more lethal than a guy with a semi-automatic handgun.
Look at the woman in Las Vegas last month.
Which is why, in the end, what it comes down to is you have to go after the wrongdoer. You have to punish them so severely that all other people who are considering it, are chilled and say, hey, I better not use a gun for that.
And it's a revolving door, though. It seems that the penal system. It's just in and the out, in and the out.
That's true for violent criminals, but not if you're Shaneen Allen, not if you're Brian Aiken.
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
Not if you're a good guy with a gun and that's the only thing, and you tripped into this tangled web of gun law and you were turned into a felon. Then they want to throw the book at you. So, what does that tell you?
Exactly, Scott. Well, listen, Scott, thanks for joining us today. And how's your New Year's shaped up? By the way, that range you have there, is that Cherry Ridge?
Cherry Ridge in North Jersey.
Oh, my God. Talk a state-of-the-art, beautiful, man. Woohoo!
Thank you so much.
Some job you did up there, guys.
Thanks.
By the way, do you get a chance to shoot between your traveling here, traveling there? I mean, and your law practice. When do you get a chance to actually hit the range yourself?
Not much. I used to shoot 2-3 times a week, and now it's all about being in Trenton and doing what needs to be done. But I'll get back to it.
Okay, Scott. Again, how do people get involved with the Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs and also the NRA? Do you have websites? Do you have phone numbers?
Sure. Obviously, for NRA, just Google NRA or NRA-ILA, the Legislative Action Institute. And for it's ANJRPC. I know it's an earful. It's a Association of New Jersey Rifle and Pistol Clubs, ANJRPC.org. Please, if you've been on the fence thinking someday I'm going to join one of these organizations, now is the moment. Now is the time. You don't have to step up and get out into the fray, but you can help us do that by joining.
Okay, Scott, keep fighting the good fight, brother. I'll see you soon.
Thanks so much, Tom.
Take care. Tom P. up against Greg, Rack and Fin Radio. Be right back. Yeah, back inside Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. WPG 1450 AM from 6 to 7, the Great Talk Radio. Shout out to Harry Hurley down the hall there. And 7 to 8, 97.3 ESPN FM. 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin Radio message. Listen. Get a jump on some good deals here, man. The Sunshine Foundation, the Southern Ocean County chapter of the Sunshine Foundation. It's going to hold its first annual fishing flea market, January 30th from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Little Egg Harbor Community Center. That's at 319 West Calabrese Drive, 319 West Calabrese Drive in Little Egg Harbor, a.k.a. Mystic Island. Get there to see the restaurant Vesuvio's on your right-hand side. Make that right. The community center is right there. For more information, call Tom Gumbad Siciliano. We have him scheduled for next week. Talk about that. It's a great organization. Him and Wild Skip Deckman. Okay, call Tommy at 732-267-6451. Tables are going to be available. It's going to be the Sunshine, again, they do a tremendous job. It's going to be packed. You have some old tackle hanging around, some new stuff you want. You bought too much, as some of us are all guilty of that you may not ever use. Here's a chance to make some money and or get some great deals. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, the TOG limit now is down to 4. The chew is still going on pretty good. The water temperature's dropping quickly. How long it'll last, we have no idea. But again, the reefs and wrecks, the artificial reefs and these wrecks, home to not only blackfish, but sea bass, fluke, myriad fish, prey species as well as game species. And now we understand, yes, it's been in the news for a while, the artificial reef program is back on track. Joining us on the line right now, a very special guest from the Bureau of Marine Fisheries is Hugh Carberry, principal marine biologist, and he's also the head of the Artificial Reef Program. Hugh, thanks for joining us today on short notice. Some good news on the reef program. It is back on track, correct, little brother?
Yeah, hi, Tom. Yeah, the reef program is definitely back on track now, and with those regulations coming out.
Okay, so in a nutshell, we have an artificial reef is going to be constructed where?
Well, part of the compromise was, there's 2 reefs in state waters. One's the Sandy Hook and the other one's the Axel Carlson Reef. This compromise that our commissioner worked on designates 2 areas in the Axel Carlson Reef and 1 area on the Sandy Hook Reef as something called full access zones.
Right.
And that's an area where commercial guys can set their pots. I mean, recreational anglers are allowed to go there as well, but they're doing so at their own risk. But if you were to add up the total area of those full access zones,
right,
it comes in just under a mile. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a new reef that's north of Axel Carlson Reef that's going to be for hook and line anglers only to, compensate for that loss that's on the Sandy Hook and Axel.
Will divers be able to spearfish this new reef as well?
No, yeah. Divers can spear gun hunt there if they like, but it's for hook and line fishing primarily.
Okay, now there was a recent deployment, or the past couple of months, on the Barnegat Light Reef, a little closer to home here. What went down?
We sunk 6 deck barges. Yeah,
was that?
Yeah, they were small ones, only 50-footers. But I got the numbers if you want to put them out there.
Put them out there, people, because the TOG are on them, I'm sure, already.
Yeah, okay, here they are. Deck barge 1 is 39:45.350 minutes, 74:01.578 minutes. That's deck barge 1. Deck barge 2 is 39:45.527 minutes, 74:01.632 minutes. Now, both these deck barges were sunk in July, so they're just now becoming colonized with marine life, hydroids, barnacles, and mussels. These would definitely be a good spot for guys to try. Now, the Barnegat Light Reef, there's a lot of structure out there. There's army tanks, there's culverts, there's reef balls. It's a shallow reef, and it's primarily set up for drift fishing. But, if I was an angler going out there, I would definitely try to anchor up both of two of these deck barges.
I've spoken to divers that have gone down, within about a month, if not two, of a deployment.
Right.
And Tom P, there's already flounder, a.k.a. fluke, around them. There's already some sea bass on them. So, they go right to it. Yeah, they go right to it.
They're structure-oriented, but, if you give that reef some time, it becomes fully enveloped with, hydroids, blue mussels, and then the fish not only use it for cover, but they feed on the reef as well.
Sure. Joining us on the line, Hugh Carberry, Artificial Reef Coordinator, New Jersey Bureau of Marine Fisheries. Good news, the reef program is back on track. Hugh, how does this augur for the future? You must have a list of plans, deployments ready to go on. You're salivating like Pavlov's dog, little brother.
Yeah, and especially now because the price of scrap steel is real low, and a lot of guys that have derelict ships in their yard are calling us, hey, you want to reef a ship? So, it's a great time right now.
How can the public get involved? Does the Bureau take donations or anything? How can people, for a memorial, for example?
Well, we're working on something for that right now, and basically, in a nutshell, it's going to be a legal agreement between a 501c3 that would want to serve as a repository for our reef donations.
Okay. Now, reef balls, things like that, where are they coming from?
The reef balls and things like that. Once we get our federal aid project money back, we're going to start the production of reef balls again. All the reef balls that we've deployed in the past were done on our federal aid project.
Okay, listen, you want to learn about the Artificial Reef Program in New Jersey? Second to none. Okay, you have Florida. I realize that. But, my God. NJFishandWildlife.com. Go to Marine Fisheries. There's information on the reef program on there, correct?
Unbelievable amount of information out there about the reef program.
Thanks for joining us. By the way, how is your winter bow season progressing?
Pretty good. Got enough to feed the kids for the year. Got 7 deer down.
Let me tell you, and you say 7 deer, that's a lot. If you saw the size of Hugh Carberry's two boys, Sean and Kyle, I swear they consume one whole deer apiece every 2 weeks. Those are some big boys there, man.
Not an understatement.
Okay, and how's the lovely Colleen?
She's doing great.
And the lovely Joan. Everything good?
Everything's good.
Right, we'll see you on the water, man. Hey, how about a January Todd trip? You up for it?
I'm definitely up for it.
Okay, I'll talk to you off the air. Take care, man.
All right, talk to you soon, Tom. Bye.
Tom P. up against a break. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Grab that cup, grab that Red Bull. January 9th already. Before you know it, we're going to be saying Happy St. Patrick's Day. Before you know it, who knows what's going to be going on. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Yeah, we're back inside Rack and Fin Radio with me, Tom P. WPG 1450 AM, the Great Talk Radio. 6 to 7, and from 7 to 8, 97.3 ESPN FM, 50,000 watts of the Rack and Fin radio message. This month's editorial in the Fisherman magazine by Jim Hutchinson, Taxation Relaxation, a must-read, especially for those of you still stuck in that power to the people thing, mindset, class warfare. Hutch lays out. Now, we had Senator Jeff Van Drew on several weeks ago talking about the passage of the bill, capping the tax. Big boats at $20,000, cutting it to 3.5%. We don't have much time for Jim. He is on his way up to the Garden State Outdoor Show up there in Edison. Jim lays it out perfectly. I have a couple of minutes locked in for him to just describe the benefits and what happened when that luxury tax came in. He was there firsthand, and what's plans to happen as a result of this 3.5%. Jimmy, how you doing, man?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
Pretty good, Jim. Great editorial, just outstanding editorial. You hit it black and white. There's no gray area here. Just the other night, I had a conversation with someone who asked me, why do you kiss rich people's asses? And I just shook my head because, with this tax, they could afford it. They could afford it. Again, I bring it back. That little troll from Maryland, Barbara Milkowski, let them pay their fair share. Back, was it 90 or 91? Let them pay their fair share. And the boating industry went down the friggin' toilet. Well, Hutch, sorry, it was just a little, I got exercise about this, Hutch. Hutch, and the gist of it for your, for the few minutes we have, go into your editorial. It really just hits it right between the eyes.
Well, thanks. The bottom line is everybody gets a tax break for buying a boat. And this is great because you got the tax breaks in Delaware and all these other states. So first of all, this new legislation helps all of us who boat. But, you mentioned the luxury tax, which I said in the editorial. It was the first push who put forth that luxury tax in 1990, and it crippled.
Well, Hutch, let me interrupt you a second. You know, the Democrats in both houses squeezed his head for that, and then they used it against him when he had said no more tax. Read my lips. So come on, man.
Right.
Level it, Hutch. Come on.
All I'm saying is tax. This tax thing is not something that's bound in partisanship. You know, you've got a full Democratic Assembly and Senate in New Jersey, and it's nearly unanimous to pass along this vote relief because this is putting people to work. It gets people buying boats and getting out on the water, and it helps the mechanics and the service industry and the marinas, and it brings more of these big rich boats back to New Jersey to fish the canyons and spend more of their money in the restaurants. You know, it's just a common sense piece of legislation. Tom, I was kidding with some friends when I was in my 20s, you know, and working hard. I had that young idealism. I'm working for the man, and he's making the money, and I'm working hard. Then you pay attention to things. It's like we all strive to be rich or wealthy or whatever it is, but we all work for somebody unless we get lucky enough to be the guy in charge.
Right.
That's the way life is.
Jim, you have the final paragraph there. Listen, a couple of sentences. When you put an unreasonable tax in place on items like big boats, the big boaters won't buy. And who builds big boats? I'm quoting Hutch here. Middle-class craftsmen, line workers, mechanics, and engineers. And if there are no boats being sold, there's no reason to build them. You know, it's right there. And you ended with the middle class was decimated with unemployment numbers going through the roof back in 91, 92. That's not opinion, but historic fact. So class warfare advocates out there, let me rub your face in it. Hutch, you did it better than I can.
Well, I just think as all the arguing is done, this is going to be good for the New Jersey boating and fishing community, and especially for somebody who's looking to like, I'm actually on my way up to the New York Boat Show right now, Tom.
Oh, I thought you were going to Garden State. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You guys
Thursday, Friday.
Yeah, you guys have you have the Dreamboat today.
Today, 1:00, man. We can't wait.
Oh, okay, Hutch. Listen.
There's a good spot for you, Bob or Tom. If one of our New Jersey subscribers wins that boat, instead of paying a 7% tax, I'm pretty sure they're going to pay a 3.5.
Bingo. How good is that? And but that money that's saved, Hutch, maybe goes to the boating supply place and buys more stuff. You know. It's a cycle.
Absolutely right.
Well, Hutch, travel safe up there in the Big Apple. We're going to try to get there if we can. The wants to see some stuff up there later this afternoon. But tomorrow we are jumping down on the Rehoboth Star with Captain Scotty Gold for some monster talk. Denise's personal best blackfish is 12 pounds. She's gunning for a 15-pounder, Hutch. So that's where we're heading.
Save me some fillets. I'll talk to you at the end of the weekend.
Take care, brother. Be good. Yeah, and don't forget next Saturday's Legs for Lenny benefit up there at the fountain in Cedar Park at ATCO. It's going to be for Wounded Warrior Lenny Lacina. Call Paula Gailey, 609-321-0093. Okay, there's going to be 4 bands. Some good tunes up there. Food, a silent auction. All the donations are tax deductible, and it's going to be $25 per ticket. Again, that's Legs for Lenny benefit. It's a fundraiser. Next Saturday at 7 p.m. at the fountain at Cedar Park in Atco. Yeah, so I get confused at my age. Come on, I'm older than dirt. I thought Hutch was going to the Garden Station. No, he's on his way this morning up to the New York Boat Show, getting an early start. That's when the fishermen will be pulling its Dreamboat Challenge winner for that cool 21 cobia. And the trip to Zancudo Lodge is going to be a great time. Just try to get to the boat show. And speaking of the boat show, also up there is Captain Frank Crescitelli, Fin Chaser Charters. Now, you know the name Fin Chaser, been around for many years. And people say, oh, he's New York. Yes, he's also Beach Haven. He's a local boy right here, runs the Manhattan Cup, probably the most prestigious inshore fishing tournament. One day of mayhem. Oxymoronic, organized mayhem, organized chaos. They're out at Chelsea Piers, raises money for the Wounded Warrior. Just a great tournament. Great guy, by the way. And he's also president of Guide's Secret Lodge. You've seen him in just about every tackle shop, I'd say, from southern Maine down through Virginia. Easily in the top 5 most productive. For me, the Bunker Boy. Okay, you got it? The Bunker Boy. Even I catch stripers with that. Anyway, Frank's on the line right now. He is hosting what is shaping to be a knock your socks off fishing show. Yes, another fishing show. Weeding them out to get on regular TV. Not this internet stuff. Regular TV with a fishing show is no easy feat. In fact, in today's economic environment, it is almost impossible. Captain Frank Crescitelli pulled it off, and by pulling it off, I mean putting together quality programming, quality crew, very, very interesting topics. It has a different bent to this show than your standard Me and Joe Fishing, and he's on the line with us right now to talk a few minutes about the program and about the guide secret. Captain Frank and Quesadich.
Hey, Quesadich, Tommy, Paisan, how you doing?
Lock, cocked, and ready to rock for Fin Chaser TV. Frankie, you pulled it off. A lot of work, a lot of ball-busting sweat work involved in getting a show going, Frank. Please go into it. Everyone has a dream out there. You have followed it through. It's been, like you said, it's been a few years in the making. Congratulations, and give us where the show airs, what times, and about the show itself. Go!
Hey, Tom. Yeah, it took us a while to get the show together, and you know what I realized? I never had a show of my own. I've done about 14 shows over the years, 17 years of guiding here in New York and New Jersey, and I thought, you know, I wanted to try and do it for myself. You know, the other thing that I saw was, you know, there was a lack of focus, you know, on Northeast, at least somebody based in the Northeast. You know, we couldn't do a show just fishing here. People would think, you know, whatever species we have, that it would be boring. But what I realized, the things that made me a better fisherman over the years was to go out with a very specific goal, whether it was a client that wanted to chase a world record or the tournaments that I do with my Fin Chaser crew. And thankfully, we've had some success over the years. And I don't know if that's good or bad, because you win a few dollars and then you think, oh, we could do this, and we end up doing more. And it's hard to come out on top. But we love doing it, and truly that's what I found makes me a better fisherman. So the focus of the show, and it's called Fin Chasers, which is the name of, you know, my guide service. And we are going out after world records or fishing a tournament in every episode. So obviously we can't break the world record on every show. If we did, people would think that there was something going on there. And being Italian and from New York, you know what they would think, right, Tom?
Oh, goodbye. I capisce.
we can't give people fuel for these stereotypes. However, we love to have fun. We're out there. We do a little food in some of the episodes. We're always eating, fishing, laughing. You know, what else could you want out of life?
Listen, let me interrupt you a second, Captain Frank. I had the opportunity to work a booth with Captain Frank at the Saltwater Expo. What, Frank, 4 or 5 years ago? He gave me a call. Somebody was sick or whatever. Listen, when you went by Captain Frank's booth and he had lunch ready, this wasn't the vendor hamburger and hot dog BS. Frank, the sopressata, the provolone, the pepperoni, the Italian bread. My God, the vino. It was heaven.
Yeah, that's why I look the way I do, Tom. We always like to have a little provolone, mozzarella, some nice bread. You know, the funny thing, whenever I travel anywhere to do a charity auction for people, and I've done them from Buffalo down to the Florida Keys, as you know, I always bring the cannolis with me. We auction off those to start the charity auctions off. We have a lot of fun with it. You know, food's part of our culture, especially being Italian from New York. So we kind of mix that into everything that we do, and we have fun with it, you know.
Okay, Frank, listen,
so
go ahead.
We have some people joining us on the show that I've met over the 17 years of guiding and doing the charity work. Wade Boggs, who everybody knows as a Hall of Fame baseball player. To me, he's just a fisherman, because the last time I went to a Yankees game, Mel Stottlemyre was the pitcher. So that had to be 1973 or 74. But, you know, he joins us. I have a youth angler from the U.S. Youth Fly Fishing Team. These young fellows won gold medal in the world 4 years in a row.
Wow.
People don't even know that we have a U.S. fly fishing team, never mind a youth fly fishing team. My producer, Paul Bork, is the coach, and he said, you know, this one kid, Knox Cronenberg, you got to meet this kid. He joined me in Guatemala a few weeks ago, and we had a great episode. We caught sailfish on fly. We caught a blue marlin.
Wow.
What we're doing is trying to have very specific goals in each show. So when we went to Guatemala, they have for example, they have a practice of not killing any billfish, which is a great practice. So we couldn't do any world records there, but we thought that would be a good place to kick off our Billfish Royal Slam quest, and that's what we did there.
Okay.
So we started out there. We're trying to catch all 9 billfish.
Wow.
And so we got a blue marlin, we got Pacific sail, Pacific blue marlin. So that's one of the things, too, that we're doing in the show. The IGFA has a lot of these clubs, like these 12-pound, 10-pound bass clubs and, 25-pound snook clubs. So wherever we're fishing, we're trying to go for one of these very specific goals. We fished in this place called the Stick Marsh in Florida, and we took Wade Boggs and his wife, Debbie Boggs, and, just to let the cat out of the bag a little bit, we did break several world records for largemouth bass for a woman angler.
Whoa.
Now, that's probably one of the most sought-after fish in the country.
Yep.
And we were able to do that there. So, we did get some records. We fished the Manhattan Cup. As you talked about, we got to show people a little bit what that's about. So we're mixing these tournaments in, world record quests, and we're trying to make it entertaining. But the way it works is the people that I've met over the years, somebody calls me up and says, hey, Frank, there's a bite here. You should show up at this time, and we're heading down to wherever that is, and we're fishing. Versus the way I've done shows with people over the years, they call me and say, we're going to be in New York City the first week in September. Well, that's not a great time to be here. So you struggle to put things together. There's a lot of pressure. Whenever the camera's rolling, the fish are never around for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
But so we just tried to do it, and hopefully people that are watching will be able to see that it's not just Bahamas, flats, bone fishing that you've seen, 1,000 times. We are basing out of ourselves out of New York and New Jersey, Atlantic City or Newark or whatever, and we're going to these spots at the right times, hopefully, to be in those areas. And that what the takeaway for the viewers will be is that Sebastian Inlet, for some reason, is not a very well-known fishery, but I will tell you that there's some of the largest redfish that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah.
And it's quite routine there,
Yep.
and there's not a lot of pressure. So, these are some of the places that we traveled to. And then we, of course, got to go to a dream spot in Casa Vieja Lodge in Guatemala, and that place blew me away.
Okay, Frank. Okay, Captain Frank, what times does the show air and on what channels, bro?
We are airing Saturday morning, 5 a.m. at Destination America, and we are on Pursuit Channel on Tuesdays at 1:30 in the afternoon. The easiest thing, Tom, just search on your whatever cable provider or TV provider you have, search for Fin Chasers. It'll pop up whatever networks you have. Hit record on your DVR, and we appreciate people watching. I look forward to people finding us on Facebook, sending us comments. We have giveaways from our Guide Secret Lures every week that the show's on. We're doing something on Facebook. So there's reasons for people to tune in. We're doing little contests within the show that you could win Guide Secret Lures. So I'll say, in this show, we caught a fish, and how much did it weigh? And so the people will have to watch, and then they answer on Facebook, and they have a chance to win Guide Secret Lures on every single episode that we do.
Okay, Frank, listen, travel safe. Dinner at the Bisque on the island on me. You guys take care.
All right, come by and see me, New York Boat Show, at the Buddy Davis booth or at the Ray Marine booth. Fin Chasers TV, presented by Ray Marine. I'll see you there, Tom.
See you, Frankie. Yeah, man, pulling off a TV show in this environment is no easy feat. We have time for one last segment. Grab that cup, grab that Red Bull. Be right back. Rack and Fin Radio. Wrapping it up today, January 9th on Rack and Fin Radio. What better way than to see what is happening at the hottest, best restaurant in the Jersey Pines, if not the entire state of New Jersey, the Piccolo Inn. Joining us is Bonnie Schneider out there at the Pic. Bonnie, how you doing, Bon?
Good. Thanks, Tom P. It's always nice to hear from you.
Okay, Bonnie, the winter chill is on, girl. What do we have hot at the Pic?
Hot at the Piccolo is always going to be our buffalo scallops, and that's our day boat scallops, fresh from Long Beach Island, literally right off the boat. We will broil them up for you, or you can have them buffalo style and hot as you like.
Ow! Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's going to be our special this weekend. We also have a lot of fun drink specials for all your hunters out there, a lot of nice cold winter craft beers on tap and in the bottle.
And we have something with a shot shell or something like that, Bonnie. What do you got?
It's a shotgun shell shot glass that has Piccolilli on it, our logo, and they're really cool. They are on a bourbon flight. So there's 3 different bourbon for you to try. They're $15, but you get to keep all 3 shot glasses.
Oh.
It comes with an ice water chaser just so that you can taste them all. But the shot glasses are what the cool thing is for anyone who likes to hunt out there to keep your shot glass. It says Piccolilli on it.
Okay, the Piccolilli in Route 206 in Chemung. Hot place for the cold winter chills. Hey, Bonnie, one thing now. I heard rumor that South Jersey Medical Center is supplying the Pick with the miniature heart and lung machines for anyone who orders at Pick Burger. Is that true?
It may be true.
Okay, Bonnie.
It may be true. If you've made that call, then yes, they are definitely going to supply us with some.
Okay, Bonnie, give that phone number, website, please.
It's 609-268-2066, and you can visit us at piccolilli.com.
Okay, Bonnie, take care. Best to everybody.
All right, thanks, Tom. See you soon.
Yep. This week on Racketeering at a Piccolilli and too much fun out there. God bless America. God bless our troops. On our way down to the Rehoboth Star, Bethany Beach, Monster Tog. Catch you next week, Rack and Fin Radio.